All right, thanks everybody for coming out to what we at the library have been tentatively calling the BobBridge Christmas Special. So I've known Bob for quite a few years, long before I was director actually, and was lucky enough to actually see him write a lot of the book that he's about to share with you here at the library. So we love Bob. Bob has been a lifelong champion of libraries, and we're great to have such a treasure in our community. That being said, you didn't come here to see and hear me, but I do have something that's just a token of our appreciation, Bob. Merry Christmas.
Well, thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
Thank you. This is going to be very informal. I'd say after all the proofreading and everything I've done, I'm pretty well sure what I'm reading. We did a lot of that, and honestly, most of it was written here, and with great assistance from the librarians, who are much more familiar with Word and things like that, and printers, and they were always helpful, and they make good coffee, too, if you ever get a chance on that. And I would stumble in here, and I was a lot healthier when I agreed to do this project than I was after, but we got through it, and it's been a labor of love for me. Just to tell you a little bit about it, and then we can talk about what I'll read or whatever, but it's basically 12 or 13 chapters. It's called Stories of Christmas Cheer. And for me, it was all about my parents. I just wanted to write a book about Christmas stories. Christmas to me is the absolute best time ever. It has always been. I've always wanted to be at home with my mom and dad in front of the fireplace, just like this, and sipping on coffee and sharing stories, because I was a sports writer and I kind of married my job, so I wasn't home as much as I wanted to be. But when I was at peace. And I can't say enough about my parents. I know we all love our parents, but they were very special people, and they gave me a life of abundance. And I don't mean that at all materialistically. We didn't have much at all. And maybe that's why we grew so close together, bonded together, and I've never had any problems with either of my parents. They've just been wonderful people, very supportive. So just a little bit, I'll just kind of read through some chapters that I have here that some of you, I think, have already purchased it and maybe read a couple of chapters or whatever, but the ones that are listed here in the table of contents, we've got Joyous Journey, and that's about a kind of, that was not supposed to be a journey, but just kind of happened at the last minute and turned out to be a good idea. Gift of a Guitar that came about because I had a guitar stolen, and somebody pulled a little trick on me and got me a new one. Emerson's Jingle Caller, and that's a good one too. I found that in my house. That is, if anybody's ever been in my house, it's a wreck because I can't. I'm a confirmed bachelor, and neatness is not my forte. But I found this after he died, years after he died. That really makes it bad, doesn't it? I found it. I found this collar he used to wear all the time. So I've gotten to where now I wear it because it helps me remember him. Sentimental songs, and these are songs about Christmas, and I like the old, like, "O Come All Ye Faithful," "Little Town of Bethlehem." I do like this "Mary Did You Know." That's become my real favorite. My friend played it on the saxophone the other day in church, and I had to pull my hat down when I left. It was really, really moving. A Gift's Potential, and that one's kind of funny. It talks about how what you become in life can be by what kind of gift you get at Christmas. And I got some that I probably shouldn't have got because they led me in bad directions, but I finally ended up getting 2 books by this author. They were for teens, and it was when I was a teen, and they were sports books. And then I became a sports writer, so they definitely do make a difference. The Quality of Company, that's about my dearest Denise. It's not how many people are there or where you are, it's who you're with. at Christmas.
You're spoiling.
Well, they have the library book here, so you can check it out. If you don't want to buy it, I don't care. This has been such a labor of love for me, this whole thing. And the dogwood, you will really enjoy that one. That one's about the tree that I had at the Times Mail for 40-some years. And then stress less, and that just means what it says, don't stress at Christmas. That's not the time to stress. Favorite seasonal flicks, mine is, probably nobody else's, it's called Love Affair. It was with Warren Beatty and his wife, actually, Annette Bening, and it's a replay of an old one that, let me just say this, the Empire State Building plays a big piece in that. Santa's House, which is the most wonderful thing the Parks Department does every year. I've been up there before, and man, it'll bring tears to your eyes. It's just beautiful. Farewell, Friendly Fisherman is about my father, and 12 Days of Christmas is about two of my friends that did a special thing for my mother. So again, the book sells for $20. I'm not pushing it. I'm just saying if you want it, I've got some, or you can read it here. I didn't do this for money, but as it turned out, the Community Foundation, which has always been my favorite thing in town, I have an endowment there. I've had it since 2004, and it's grown great, and I like it because now when I'm gone, I like to use the word perpetuity. It'll still be around no matter how long I'm gone. And the beauty of this, I've decided all the books that I had sent here to Bedford, which is almost 1,000, everything that I get from those sales will go to the Community Foundation. Everything, not 90% or 10%, 100%. And then Eli Lilly, I just can't get over this, they match it 2 for 1. So every book goes $60 to our charities. And I'm talking the Warming Shelter, which is one of I volunteer there. Some great people there that you'd be surprised. Just like Father Rick, who helped start it, said, "Oh, but for the grace of God, go I." And I think we all need to remember that. Sometimes you think you're on top of the world, and I found out at Easter I wasn't. I had this little health thing come up that slowed me down a little, but we have great charities. We've got the cancer group. We have the Humane Society, which is near and dear to his heart. And I'm forgetting a few. Oh, Bertha's Mission, Becky's Place. There's a lot of good charities. So anyway, I would like to read a couple to you. Some of them might be hard for me to read because I don't care if I've read them 2,000 times. This will be who I'm with on Christmas, because my advice, and I'm not good at giving advice, but I'll give this one I'm just sure about. If you want to have a good Christmas, then this Christmas, if you've got any family, be with them and make memories. Because here's what I got left of Christmas, and I don't mind being alone because I'll read all 12 chapters. And I'll watch ball games and think of my dad, and I'll eat food and think of my mom, and I will be happy. My girlfriend will be up with her mom in Indianapolis, and we'll meet some other time. But I will say my favorite 2 chapters, or 4 chapters, would be the first 2, Joyous Journey, and the second one, Gift of a Guitar, and then the last 2, Farewell, Friendly Fisherman, and 12 Days of Christmas. So if anybody has any of those 4 that they would like to suggest first, if not, I'll just pick one.
They were my favorites as well.
Which one?
The first 2 and the last 2. They're all wonderful.
They're all hard to read, so I may have to stop a couple of times because
I had to get tissues.
You think after you've read it, 200, 300 times, but my dear friend Renetta, who helped come in here with me, and they helped me with the librarians, helped me so much. Yeah, she. I may need that. she had the same problem, and you know, it's like, even though you're proofreading and looking for mistakes and all of that, like I would make one, you know, and you read it, you're reading it for like the 16th time in 2 days, and it's like, it still gets to you. It's just because I was so close to them that it still means a lot to me. So anyway, anybody? If not, I'll just get started with one. Well, the toughest one to read, I'll go first with. It's the one I ought to read, probably one about my dad and my mom. They, like I said, they were very dear to me, and this explains. They probably explain a little bit more about my life and the kind of relationship that we had. This is called Farewell, Friendly Fisherman, and as you can see, it's about my dad, and this is my favorite photo of my dad. And if you look real close, for any of you golfers out there, he's got on the Otter Creek cap I gave him for Christmas. So I like that. I like the fact that that is, like, if you were going to do a caricature of him or just something that's symbolic of him, that's it right there. So I'll get started, and I'll do the best I can here. Farewell, friendly fisherman. Clouds hung ominously low like an eerie yellow gauze as the jet that would fly me out of Birmingham rumbled down the runway. It wasn't a coincidence my mood mirrored the weather. An emergency message delivered to my hotel room that morning indicated my father, battling a rare and lethal form of vasculitis from his hospital bed in Evansville, had taken a decided turn for the worse. Lightning broke in jagged streaks, and thunder rolled through the leaden skies as the jet soared into the storm. Rain rushed across the wing in solid sheets, and the infrequent flyer seated across the aisle from me looked to the stewardess for reassurance. I shifted my glance from the stormy skies, shut my eyes, and tried to envision my father seated atop a bucket on a snowy white beach in Panama City. Flags of silver peeping out from beneath his Otter Creek golf cap, he cradled his fishing rod across his tanned, taut legs as he carefully threaded a shrimp onto the hook. For 1 month out of every year, BobBridge was the friendly fisherman, a fixture on the beach behind Largo Mar condominiums. Each morning, just before sunrise, he would shuffle to the shoreline, park his butt on the bucket, dig his toes into the surf, and drink in the natural splendor of the Gulf of Mexico. Friends, new and old, approached to inquire about his luck. "Haven't caught a thing," he would respond, "but the fishing's great." His eyes virtually twinkled with delight as he spun a yarn about the one that got away or the one that didn't. A 9-pound redfish he wrestled skillfully and tirelessly before pulling it ashore, amid the roar of the appreciative audience that had gathered to witness the spectacle. I often wondered what he was thinking as he sat there on the deck just before dusk, gazing at the western horizon awash with a spectacular spectrum of colors. Perhaps he savored the highlights of his 73 years. This kind, gentle man had much to relish. As a barnstorming pilot in his younger years, he played a few seasons of football at Notre Dame before settling down to marry the girl of his dreams. They had 2 children, the eldest of which rewarded him with 3 precious gifts: Carrie, Angie, and Laura Beth. His youngest child, a belligerent bachelor with a basset hound for a soulmate, constantly challenged his patience and tolerance. But he refused to give up on him. In fact, he was his staunchest advocate. His love and support never wavered. The musing was interrupted by the sound of the pilot's voice, informing the passengers it was now safe to unbuckle their seatbelts and move about the cabin. My eyes beheld the breathtaking panorama as I peered out the window. The sky was an intense, incredible blue, untainted by the turbulent thunderclouds that loomed below. The pilot had steered us to a place of safety and serenity, well beyond the reach of the raging storm. Dad would love this. Exactly 1 month later, on the 70th birthday of his beloved wife of 47 years, BobBridge piloted his Spirit upward, away from the tubes, masks, and electronic equipment that had clamped him to a bed for nearly 3 months. The dedicated doctors and angelic nurses who had grown so attached to the gentle giant stood by reluctantly as he made his way to the great beyond. He had battled and battled, but the storm coursing within his body was too severe. I held his hand and gazed into those warm, caring eyes as he breathed his final breath. BobBridge, the friendly fisherman, the chief pie baker for the annual BobBridge Golf Invitational, was gone. He passed 5 days prior to Christmas, his most wonderful time of the year. Make no mistake, BobBridge was the fundamental family guy. Someone told me when I was young that paradise is what you perceive it to be. Afforded that luxury, I would envision my dad, the epitome of peacefulness, seated on a bucket, rod and reel in hand, casting his line into a soft, rolling sea. Somehow, heaven seems the only appropriate place for such a friendly fisherman. That's my first one. And he was that and everything else. I'm so blessed to have him. And I'll go ahead and read the one about my mom. It's a different type of story, really. I don't know how to say the best way to describe it. It's a mystery of sorts, if you like mysteries. So it's called The 12 Days of Christmas. Let's see if I can get the pages right here. There we go. And you kind of had to know my mom. She was not a confident person. She would always ask me, looking for affirmation on things. Well, do you think I should get this candy bar or that candy bar? Do you think we should eat at this restaurant or that restaurant? I said, pick a place, pick a place. But this really explains my mother very well. I want to show you the photo of her that I have. This is so much my mother. And I took that picture, this picture right here, if you can see it, with the baby. That's her youngest grandchild in her arms, yeah. And her name was Ruth. See if some of you can figure out the mystery. 12 Days of Christmas. It came upon a midnight clear. My mother, Ruthie Laverne Bridge, was alone in her Evansville residence, seated in her most comfortable chair, when a no-nonsense knock on the large wooden front door demanded her attention. After peering through the main entry small window, she ventured onto the porch and discovered a Christmas bag at her feet. She scanned the large landscaped lawn in an effort to determine the deliverer, but nary a soul was in sight. A message, printed on computer paper and attached to the bag, began with, "On the first day of Christmas, we'd like to give to you." Inside the bag was a variety of clever, thoughtful gifts. When I arrived in Evansville the next day, I faced a stringent interrogation in regard to the source of the package in question. "I had nothing to do with it," I proclaimed with the most innocent intonation I could conjure, "but I've got a feeling there will be more." Sure enough, when I awakened at 2:30 a.m. to deal with the beloved Basset Hound's inconsiderate bloated bladder, I nearly tripped over a strategically placed package. A few hours later, when my mother appeared in her housecoat to wish her son and favorite granddog a good morning, I sipped my coffee and pointed to the suspicious sack. "Where did that come from?" she demanded. Emerson and I responded with a collective shrug of our shoulders. Her curiosity piqued. Ruthie was as giddy as a child on Christmas morning. She started displaying her prizes on a table in the living room and questioned everyone about potential suspects. She even went so far as to solicit the assistance of my snooping soulmate, Ralph Waldo Emerson. "Unless the culprit is smothered in sausage gravy," I noted, "his services are about as useful as a snow sled on a dog day afternoon." Emerson and I departed Evansville on December 16. For the next week, my mom provided long-distance, detailed information about gifts received and a list of suspects she compiled. "It could be your sister." "Nope, she can't stay up that late," I said. "What about my sisters?" "Nope, they can't run fast enough to get away." "Well, who could it be?" "Don't know. Maybe those gifts are for me and Emerson." "No, because they have my name on them," my mom muttered matter-of-factly. "Fine, then it's your mystery to solve," I replied. When I arrived home near midnight on December 22, Ruthie was fit to be tied. She was curious, clueless, and convinced someone close to her was harboring useful evidence. "Who do you think it is?" she asked. "I don't know, but it sounds like something Billy would do." Billy, Ruthie's nephew, is clever and infinitely thoughtful. Like just about everyone else I know, he loves my mom and would do anything to please her. "You know, I bet it is Billy," she insisted. "I thought I saw a white car parked in the driveway the other night before I went to bed. And Billy drives a light-colored car." In an effort to get indisputable proof, she summoned Angie, her granddaughter, to help her solve the puzzle. Sunday night, while I was watching the Colts, we hear a rap at the door. Mom ran to the threshold and Angie sprinted to the kitchen to peek out the window. Mom returned with another package, and Angie reported seeing two people sprinting across the lawn and down the rock wall that borders our front yard. "What do they look like?" Mom inquired. "Well, I didn't get a good look, but they ran like girls." In no way, shape, or form does Billy resemble a girl. I listened while Mom and Angie compared theories. Angie, prone to prophecy, suggested, "It will probably be somebody you would never suspect." Mom spent Christmas Eve giving our extended family members the third degree. It was to no avail. Either they were innocent or very convincing actors. Late that night, as Emerson and I prepared for a stroll, we heard a knock on the door. Mom returned with a gift she recognized. "It was your sister," she shouted. "This is the gag gift Becky opened at the party tonight." She was interrupted by another loud rap. This time, she was greeted by a couple of giggling, mischievous nieces posing as culprits. "I told you it wasn't Becky," I gloated. "They're just pulling your chain." Moments after my nieces departed, the genuine gift giver appeared for the 11th time. I give up, Mom said when a quick scan of the landscape failed to provide nary a clue. The case was growing cold. We assumed it would never be solved. Christmas morning was wonderful. Mom was in great spirits, and her family bestowed her with a bounty of gifts to place beneath the table that displayed the treasure she collected from the mystery bags during the past couple of weeks. Just as my sister's family was walking out the door, I received a call from Dave, a boyhood friend. I had seen his wife, Jean, another dear friend, at the mall on Christmas Eve, so she knew I was in town. I had planned to give Dave a call before I left town that evening, but this was better. Dave said he, Jean, and the rest of the family intended to stop by for a visit. They arrived about an hour later. Dave and Jean introduced me to their children, Andy and Sarah's friend, Whitney. My mom explained to them about the mystery gifts and her suspicion that it could be her nephew. They listened attentively, and Sarah even read a note on one of the bags. Then, following a pregnant pause, Jean arose and walked to the entryway. She returned with the bag. It's just a little something we got you, she said. As soon as Mom looked at the sack, the mystery was solved. While our guests giggled and guffawed with gusto, Mom stood speechless. As Angelie had so sagely suggested, it was something Ruthie never suspected. Since my dad died a few years ago, Christmas hasn't been the same at 320 Evergreen Road. In a nasty case of twisted fate, Dad died on my mom's birthday, December 20. It's hard to celebrate a birthday and capture the Christmas spirit under those circumstances. But for 12 wonderful days, my friends provided Mom with an uplifting experience. I don't think I've ever seen her smile and giggle so much since we lost Dad. Just as I was leaving late Christmas night, she inquired, "Why do you suppose Dave and Jean chose me?" I could have explained all my friends love and treasure her, but I didn't. Instead, Emerson and I just shrugged our shoulders. You reap what you sow, Ruthie, and don't think for a minute there aren't angels walking among us. And this is a picture here of Dave and Jean, who secured their place as being best friends by this, what I think is maybe the kindest thing anybody's ever done for my family. Here they are. Dave's wearing a Purdue hat. We allow that because he's done so many nice things in his life. But those are, and to be quite honest with you, those two are just about equal with me with the first two. And the first two are very similar to this. The Otis Park is a really good chapter. But I don't want to give away the whole book. But it's you can come here. You don't have to buy it. You can come here. This is a great place to come anyway. It's so peaceful in here during the day. You got newspapers over there. I've read the best books I've ever read. I get from here. I don't see the reason to buy them when you got them here. So every once in a while, but not very often. But the name of the book again is Stories of Christmas Cheer. And it was a labor of love. And I thank all of you for coming. And whether you purchase the book or not, it's not a big deal to me. I would like for you to read it if you get a chance sometime. Come here to the library here, and the librarians will take care of you and give you a cup of coffee. But John Williams was a dear friend of mine. I don't know how many of you knew John. He was the mayor of this town for 20-some years. And I can remember as he was getting older and he was retiring from being mayor, he He said, I'll tell you, he said, I don't brag on my city much, but I'll tell you one good thing. He said, we got one heck of a library, and we do. And I'm very proud of it. And I can't tell you how many times when I first retired, I must have been in here every other day. Me and some of the guys from the warming shelter, you got to leave there during the day sometimes. And so when it gets kind of nippy, you know, they're going to come in here sometimes just to read a book and relax a little. And every once in a while, you'll be over there reading the book, and you'll hear this, and you'll know who it is. But they don't snore for long, and they're great guys. And I'm glad that we now have. This was really before we got this big shelter built over here across from the UAW hall, and I'm so proud of that, and the wonderful volunteers at all of these charities that we have in town. And I'm so proud of the Community Foundation for all the money that they put into these charities. And that's why I'm so proud of Bedford, why I've stayed in Bedford, because people care about people in Bedford. I've never lived in a small community. I've always lived in bigger cities. And this is a special place. I think we're all very lucky to be here. Thank you so much for coming. And I'm going to go back here in this room here for a little while. I promise I won't shed another tear. That's over. But thanks so much. And thank you, Faye, for helping us out.
Thanks for coming to read to us.
And thank you so much for this. And thank you so much for inviting me. I appreciate it, buddy. Thank you very much.
Thank you.